Welcome back. So over the weekend I had the AMP in and doing the test on the pitot-static system and also the transponder, and here you can see he's got the little receiver thing hooked up to the transponder antenna. That's the yellow box there, and the sort of cream color box, that one is for testing the pitot-static system, and it allows him to sort of take the altitude up and down and the airspeed as well. So it's hooked up to the pitot there, and also that other line there is hooked up to the static output. So that got done and all signed off, and little annotations in the logbook now. Alright, back out here again, and going to do some runs today. But before I do that, I changed the linearization map on the injectors back to the original settings, and I'm just going to make sure that that didn't create any other problems. So I'm just going to do a quick little run up here, and also just cycle the governor, get some oil in the prop there, and then I'll take it out on the runway. So it's just warming up a little bit right now, only 135 degrees. So I'm just going to slowly just bring it up here, just do a little quick run up to 3,000 and then do another one up to sort of more full power. Alright. There we go. Try my new little screen here, my first flight thing that we may end up using. Shows the instruments that we just need, like really nice and big. So it's a nice day today. There's a little bit of a crosswind, but not very much. And I'm sheltered here at the first part of the run by these trees. Temperature is 66 outside, which is nice. So I'm just going to start out and take it up to probably 70 knots on the first run, which is about where I've been before. And then the next run just go a little quicker. My goal now is to try and get it up to, or to take it up to 82 knots. And that's going to be the point where potentially I can try pulling in some elevator again and see how that goes for rotating, getting the nose off again. And that should be 82 knots, should be the airspeed with it just about 2 or 3 degrees nose up attitude from the nose off to actually just get the mains to come off. You know, I'm going to work my way up to that. And Cherokee traffic experimental 2 Tango Delta, taking runway 23 high speed taxi Cherokee. Alright, make this one a quick one because he's already on the downwind. Yeah, I didn't get very straight when I started out then. Wasn't helping me. Trying an experiment now, taking some speed off here right away and just seeing how much easier it makes it at the end there to get stopped.
Cherokee traffic, Cessna 12 Hotel is on a left base for runway 23, Cherokee traffic.
Cherokee traffic experimental 2 Tango Delta, clear of 23 Cherokee. Yeah, one there I was just, accelerating down the runway. I didn't get it lined up enough or have enough crosswind correction in there. It started to pull and to the right.
Cherokee traffic, Cessna 12 Hotel is on final for runway 23, Cherokee traffic.
That's why I had to ease into it. I mean, it doesn't look like there's any wind there right now, but that windsocket is just sometimes unreliable, just where it is and the way it's a little bit bent. the wind is supposed to ease and turn more to the west in the afternoon, so that's better. So that was about 60 knots that time indicated. Yeah, Cherokee traffic, experimental 2 Tango Delta, taking runway 23, high speed taxi Cherokee. And we need to, we're in about the same amount of sync back there, so I've got plenty of time. Won't rush quite so much this time. I'll get lined up. And some crosswind correction. Like that airspeed's taken longer to come up than before, but then again, I need to look at the ground speed and see what that's showing. You know, I've had the AMP in yesterday, and he's gone and done the sign off on the pitot-static and also the transponder. So, and he's happy with the
Cherokee
location.
traffic, Cessna 12 Hotel is on a left base for runway 23, Cherokee traffic.
He's happy with the location of where I've just left that static out there. He says it's as good as anything else on the outside of the aircraft because there's no way that pressure can build up in that whole cavity that goes from the nose all the way back to the main gear wheel wells. Alright, I got my GPS up there on my phone so I can kind of do a quick glance at that to see what the mile an hour is compared to the indicated. I'm just sort of babying the throttle in there because I've, you know, some reason, probably partly the crosswind or whatever, but it's pulling to the right initially upon initial power. So I've had to touch the brakes to bring it back around. That's not helping with my, performance on my initial roll. All right, there we go this time. Might just try and line it up straight here and static, and then try running into or rolling into it and see if I can keep it straight this time. Now I can see the crosswind blowing there. See the bushes moving over here.
Cherokee traffic, Cessna 12 Hotel is on a left crosswind for runway 23, Cherokee traffic. Cherokee traffic, Cessna 12 Hotel on a left downwind for runway 23, Cherokee traffic.
Seems to be accelerating as good as before. I made an adjustment earlier just to the ALR on the brakes. I don't think that would be putting braking pressure on there, but I'm going to back it off here in a second and see if that makes a difference. Put the prop to the same pitch I had the other day, and I know I'm kind of messing up some runway here by having to touch the brakes again to bring it in line. right after it starts rolling, because that first 20 knots I don't have much directional control other than using the brakes. Oh, that was interesting. The nose wheel down and the left main and the right was up in the air still. Student practicing these landings, and I feel like a student practicing my takeoffs. Alright, try this again with the brakes, bring it back to where they were, light adjustment. I don't know how that could have affected it. I think it's this crosswind is throwing me off down here. Just up the bottom of the hill here.
We're taxiing midfield to over to 3.
Point it a little bit to the left here and see what happens.
Cherokee traffic, Cessna 12 Hotel is on a left downwind for runway 23, Cherokee traffic. Traffic RB19, Sheriff Foxtrot, clear back.
Oh, nose came off that time. Alright, drop down. You wanted to fly then. Alright, so now I know where the nose comes off pretty severely. Doesn't take as much elevator as what you would expect at that speed. So it'll be interesting to see if the mains came off then. Stewart's out there, I'm going to stop and talk to him for a second, see what he has to say. And Cherokee County Traffic Experimental 2 Tango Delta, clear 23 Cherokee. Well, I think I've just
Cherokee
proven
traffic,
there
12 Hotel is turning a left base for runway 23, Cherokee
that I can
traffic.
get it off the ground, get it back on, roll out without standing on the brakes too hard, and get it stopped before the end of the runway. So that's almost a success right there. But let me just talk to Stuart and see what he says about the mains, if the mains came off. And then I think I'm just going to go back and review the video, or I might do one more run and just take it a little quicker without putting in as much elevator, or take it the same without putting as much elevator. That was definitely interesting.
Cherokee traffic, Cessna 12 Hotel is turning final for runway 23, Cherokee traffic.
It seems like it's not performing as good as it was the other day. Yeah, all the numbers look good, but I don't know. Might just be, you know, my technique on the initial roll.
Cherokee traffic, RV19er, Sheriff Foxtrot, departing runway 23, we're going to stay in the path.
Alright.
Cherokee traffic, Cessna 12 Hotel is on the left downwind for runway 23, Cherokee traffic.
I'm going to try just one more run here. I'm not going to try getting the nose off. The goal of this one's just going to be just get the go for 90 miles an hour over here.
Traffic RV19er, Sierra Foxtrot.
And then I'll have
We're
a
going to
little bit more
depart to
data
the northwest, Cherokee.
indicated airspeed and ground speed and all that sort of stuff. And I'm not having any problem stopping it. I'm doing this thing now where I said I'm actually knocking about 10 knots off just by touching the brakes there as soon as I take the power back off, and everything's comfortable once it's all, you know, just feeling smooth and rolling. And then that gives me a lot more runway at the end there because I'm not blowing through it at 70 knots. And then I've just been sort of just gently on the brakes all the way down, rolling out, so I don't have to do heavy braking at the end. And yeah, I'm going to use my brakes up, but you know, cost of some brake pads for doing this testing is totally worth it. Now I'm going to just try and eyeball and see where I get in terms of miles an hour when I hit the 1,000-foot mark. Because in the other runs I've done, I was getting 70 miles an hour, pretty much. And it seems like it's less today for some reason. And I did change that linearization, but it seems like the engine's performing well. It just doesn't feel like it's pulling as hard. And you know, all the temps are the same and stuff, so not sure. Yes, that was definitely the nose comes off big time at 85.
Hotel is on a left base for runway 23.
I don't want to do that again. The best way is just going to be to fly this off at 90, 95 when the time comes. 95 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour, just fly it off. That way you only have to put in a little bit of elevator and we'll just climb out nicely. Alright. Be safe out there, people. Again. 90. Alright, come on the brakes a little bit.
Cherokee traffic, so some 12 hotel is on the left downwind for runway 23, Cherokee traffic.
75, aerodynamic braking. More brakes.
Cherokee County traffic, JetPod 3, Mike will be crossing the runway onto the parallel.
Alright, that was 90 miles an hour, at least from the GPS. And no real problem stopping there. I mean, I've got to use the brakes, but you know, I'm going downhill, what do you expect? And Cherokee Traffic Experimental 2 Tango Delta, clear 23, Cherokee. Alright, I think I'm going to take it back and go and look at my video and look at my runs and stuff like that and just see. I think overall that was definitely a step forward, and for the nose wheel a step up, and it must have gotten light on the mains. We'll see. And I have a feeling that I need to put my linearization table back the way it was. But I did see 67, 68 then just as I got to the 1,000-foot mark, so I guess that's about the same. Be interesting to see what the Garmin looks like with the acceleration graph on there. See if it's up to 90 mile an hour. If it's staying nice and straight, in other words, you know, showing constant acceleration.
So here's a comparison of a couple of runs. The large screen there, the full screen there, is the one just from this particular run, and the ones from a couple of days ago as well. And you can notice there on the chart that the one from a couple of days ago is a steeper acceleration there, and I think that's because I was rolling into it, whereas this one I'm doing now, I'm actually on it more heavily, like full throttle sooner, and so it's actually steeper at the start, but you don't notice it, and then it sort of starts to taper off as aerodynamic drag comes in. But either way, you can see that in this new one, I definitely beat my old one in terms of time over distance and speed. So that's good, and that was the one where I got the nose off, and that's what it looked like to me. And it did catch me a little bit by surprise. I wasn't expecting it to rise so sharply there, but overall no damage. And yeah, there was plenty of clearance still from the prop. I kind of did the calcs and measured it and stuff, and I still had about 4 inches of clearance on the prop, and I believe the nose wheel came off and was about 12 inches off the ground. And here it is again from the outside, and you can see how it lifts off there, and then I correct with the elevator, take the elevator out, and here quarter speed. You can see I take the elevator out there and it comes back down, and then I'm just trying to sort of keep it smoothed out there. So anyway, and this is what it looked like from underneath.
Alright, out here again, just did a little bit of a change to the tuning there on the injector linearization, which is changing the pulse length on the injectors. I've actually shortened them. Means the engine runs cooler and probably burns a little bit less fuel for the same amount of power. At least that's what I'm seeing on the static run up. So just going to give it a quick little run down the runway here. We've got a crosswind today, but it's only, I think it's 5 knots or 3 knots or something right now. It's eased off. So my goal now is to do some runs down the runway up to about maximum of 90 miles an hour, maybe 95, and then pull the power back to about half power, and then kind of count just in my head 1, 2, 3, and then pull the power off, and then from there determine how many seconds I can actually count where I can still get the aircraft stopped when I pull the power after counting the last seconds. So that way I'll know, up to 95 miles an hour, pull the half throttle, and sorry about the mic there, pull the half throttle, and then be able to still roll out and stop. Then eventually I can try lifting the nose off just gently at that speed at 95, and with the power still on, and then be able to hopefully just get the mains off a little bit, and then cut the power after my count to 5 seconds or whatever it is, put it back down again, and have time to roll out. So that's what the kind of goal is here. Hopefully everybody else is going to arrive in the pattern here, because I'm going to be doing reverse traffic here.
So I ended up doing about 3 runs similar to this without attempting to get the nose off. Just trying to find out, how fast I can take it and how long I can hold it at the max speed before running out of runway. And after taking it back and reviewing everything and just looking back at the engine and everything, I've noticed that the belts are really getting, or one of them is really getting beat up on the front edge. And I think it's partly because I've got the tensioner too tight now, so I've ordered new belts already, and they haven't shipped yet as of today, so hopefully they're shipping today and I get them during the week. But what I'm going to do now, we're going to have some rain coming through in the end of this week here, or the second half of the week, so probably going to take this opportunity to pull down the redrive and have a look inside, check everything out there, put it all back together for the last time, and then at the same time change the belts and get everything dialed in so it's ready for first flight. And this is what the belts are looking like here. Even though I've got the pulleys really nicely aligned right now, they still want to track to the front. As you can see, they're both over there on the right hand side. They're running smooth, and I've loosened off the tensioner since. That's what this run is. It's a bit looser, but I still think I need to check the alignment when I put the new belts on, and then ultimately redrive will be checked out, disassembled, reassembled, and new belts put on, and then everything will be ready for final testing there. But it doesn't look like test pilots are going to be available until December now. So anyway, we'll see. I'll keep you updated. Thanks again for watching, and tune in again on Saturday.